Does it also reflects the concerns and also your own sentiments? This is the measurement of the sentiments of the people over the last 6 months, or the first 6 months of the year, as captured in this poll. Does it reflect your sentiments as well?
Thank you very much. And again, you see, I always consider a budget statement of a government to also be a political document. And a budget statement also reveals the values and aspirations of a government or a president. And so even though we will tend to focus, or we seem to tend to focus on just the figures or the numbers, I think it is important that also know that budgets are also about values. Budgets are also about priorities, and budgets are also about what the government seems to put there. So I want to take it more from a policy perspective, not necessarily from a financial or economic perspective, because I think that will be captured very well. I want to fill on the foundations of which this budget was done. If you see, when the president presented his State of the Nation address, he said that Ghana was basically a crime scene. If you would follow what the finance minister has said since then, he has made it clear, or he's tried to make it clear, that the economic scene in the country, or what is happening with the economic front of the economy, is a crime scene. Literally, that almost nothing happened or nothing seems to be good in the country. We have made it look like when the economy was handed over to the government, almost everything was bad, was worse, and there was nothing to write home about. But today, as time goes on, we are beginning to see figures. We are beginning to see even statements from the government's own economic management, sometimes contradicting themselves, contradicting what they say or they keep saying about the past administration or the past economy and what the reality actually is.
What do you mean?
I will start by one thing. Look, there's this press statement or this message on My Joy Online. It was captured that, and this was on July 25th, 2025 at 1:22 p.m. Mahama's government sees Akufo-Addo administration as having played a key role in stabilizing the economy. IMF report. And there's actually a quote in the report that I want to emphasize. It says, look, the fund stated that the authorities, Mahama's government, see the latter, Akufo-Addo's government, as having played a key role in stabilizing the economy and in providing a credible anchor to address long-standing vulnerabilities and buttress confidence. This is what the FM is saying, that this is what the current administration is telling the IMF or foreigners about the Ghanaian economy. But you never see something like this in the statement that the finance minister raised. You never see something like that anybody raised. So when they are talking to Ghanaians, you make it look like, again, you inherited a crime scene, nothing was working, nothing was good, nothing was done. When you are meeting the IMF, when you are meeting foreigners, you praise the efforts of the former government and what they have done and how they've managed to bring it to. I'm saying that when you keep doing, the consistency is important. And this doesn't show consistency, because the question then is the IMF is supposed to believe, or people or non-Ghanaians, are they supposed to believe this, what you've told the IMF, or they're supposed to believe what you said in Parliament, where you pooh-hooed all that happened in the former administration? So I believe that we need to be consistent here. If you tell the IMF what you tell Ghanaians, and tell Ghanaians what you tell the IMF, let it be consistency. You cannot, on the one hand, tell them that, oh, this was good, this was better, and now you come and tell us no good. When a finance minister does that, sometimes it may chip away at some of your...
With what you read, is it this administration telling the IMF?
Yes. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm reading from Joy FM. There's a story, it's on Joy FM. The headline is, Mahama's government sees Akufo-Addo's administration...
You read a phrase, a particular quote.
Yes.
What did they say?
It says, this is the quote, the fund stated that the authorities, Mahama's government, see the latter, Akufo-Addo's government, as having played a key role in stabilizing the economy and in providing a credible anchor to address long-standing vulnerabilities and buttress confidence.
Well, so that's the IMF. That's the IMF quote you're reading.
Yes.
Okay.
Quoting, the IMF is saying that this is what the current managers of the economy are telling them about the former managers of the economy. In other words, they are saying that the former managers of the economy that have done well and are doing well to buttress economy to what? Address long-standing vulnerabilities and buttress economy. Now, my point is that if that is what you are telling the IMF about the former managers of the economy, then you cannot turn around and look Ghanaians in the face and say the economy was managed, it's a crime scene. I'm saying those two statements are inconsistent.
No, what I was trying to point to you was that what you are saying is the IMF's quote and not this administration telling the IMF.
But that's the point. No. The IMF is saying that this is what the current is telling them.
Where is that in the?
It says the fund stated that the authorities in government see the latter as having played a key role in stabilizing the vulnerabilities. So it means that you've told them that you've expressed to them that you see that happening. That's the point I'm making. That there are two. You seem to be on the one hand, when it's IMF or for external partners, you are telling that this is good, this was bad, this is how good it was. When it comes to when we are talking to Ghanaians, you state a different position. Secondly, I want to. But finance ministers in Ghana, I think they go through 3 phases. Every finance minister in Ghana goes through the 3 phases. I'll call the first phase the baby phase or the holiday phase. This is when they come in. They are brimming with philosophy. They are brimming with energy. They are brimming with ideas. This is where they begin to immediately translate their manifesto ideas into actual policy. And this is where they mostly the governments are on their have their holiday period. People love them. There's big intention and there's big approvals. And here the governments do well. And almost every finance ministers enjoy this period. If you go back and you look at Krey Points, if you go back and you look at Kwame Pepra, if you look at all of them, because the former government has just been defeated, morale is high, attitude is high. So this is that first phase of the economy. And I can say, yes, there are some good things to go with it too. Inflation is down, the CD is stabilized, and reserves are increasing, actually building on what the former government. So this is the phase that the finance ministers tend to have more fun. This is the phase where the finance ministers tend to want to do a lot of the things they want to do. Now, then after this, you go to the second phase. I call the youthful phase or the real work phase. Here, we are talking about almost a year after this has been done. That's now the hard work. This phase, you cannot blame the former government for anything you've done. And I want to say, now from today onwards, this economy is not more the Akufo-Addo Bawumia economy. No. This economy is seriously John Dramani Mahama's economy now. And I want to say it's important for us to know that from this day, you cannot continue blaming the former government for anything I've done. You have fully owned the economy. And it's important that we do that, because whenever we are giving finance ministers that room, we are encouraging them for lapses. No, you have now fully owned the economy, and now everything that is yours.
I don't think it's wrong to say that the finance minister should let the people know the economy that this administration inherited. There's no problem with that.
Exactly, I agree. It was done in March in the budget. We were told what happened. After that, you have followed up now with this current update to tell us that, look, again, this was what we inherited, and this is what we've done with what we inherited, and this is where we are. Now, I'm saying that after this period, it becomes unfair for you to now be blaming the former government for anything, because, again, you've told us it is a crime scene, it is everything, it is now, you now fully own the economy. So that was what we talk about the youthful age, where you now have to make it work. You now have to implement your policies. That is where finance ministers begin running the problem. That is the difficulty part. And then you will go to a third phase. That third phase comes, let's say, somewhere in 2028 when it's an election year. Most finance ministers sacrifice a lot. They work very hard. They do the right things. But can they sustain an election year? And almost everybody tell you, usually we do that, we sacrifice, we do all the hard work. And then when it gets to an election year or close to an election year, we throw everything out because it's important. At that time, the politicians will not give you the freedom. At that time, the party operators will not give you the freedom. At that time, all is about winning elections. So we need a system to sustain what we are doing now. We need a system to make sure that we don't sacrifice the hard work we've done just for elections. We need a system to make sure that we don't blow off the inflation figures just because elections are coming. So for me, things look good right now. The managers of the economy is doing well. There are certain aspects of the statement of the economy that even the IMF themselves have raised serious concerns about.
So, are you saying that the last 6 months, what has this administration done well? Because you've pointed out a lot of things that they haven't done, and then also talking about what the fund says this administration said about the previous administration and what they did to also help achieve where we are now. What have they done right?
Inflation is down. That is a fact. Inflation is down. And I'm not one of those who will go and say, what is the price of kinky? What is the price of fish? No, I'm not going there. Inflation is down. We just got that the energy inflation, electricity inflation has gone. I know, but general inflation is down. That is a good thing. The interest rate is stabilized. Again, there are concerns about the IMF, about how much money the government is pouring into it. But it doesn't matter now. The interest rate is stabilized. The city is stabilized. That's a good thing too. The economic projections rate, I think, is projected to grow up to 5% or so. That is still good because last year the economy grew by 5.7%. So we are expecting either to have that or higher than that is good. So yes, I'm saying that these indicators are good. But the point I'm making is that anybody will tell you, you cannot achieve these indicators if your description of the former economy are true. I'm just trying to understand that it's not because it's not possible. Look at the export cover, about 4 months. Now we have about export 4 months cover. 3 months before the former government left, about 3 months export cover. So you've added 1 month. Let's always acknowledge at least the good or the small successes of others. You've added something and we are going. So that's what I'm talking about, the fact that now you cannot or you do not have the right anymore to blame the former government for this comment. This is now official, and from now onwards, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's economy, and we must accelerate that. From now onwards, if we hear the finance minister or anybody for that trying to blame anything in the economy on the former government, it is blame shifting. You are just blaming the wrong person.
Because you referenced the IMF report, and it's good that, you see, one of the things I like to do is that when you reference a particular document, you look at it in whole. You understand? And not in parts, so that we get a full picture of what the IMF's diagnosis of the state of the economy is, based on what was inherited and what is now. If you look at the details of the IMF report, and I'm going to specifically reference you to page 169, it says, faced with large policy slippages and reform delays at end 2024, the new administration has taken bold corrective actions to maintain the program on track. Now, if you listen to the finance minister after this media budget review presentation, he detailed quite clearly that the IMF raised concerns about the slippages and then also the specific diversion of the policy focus in terms of the IMF's own targets that the previous administration deviated from. So take a listen to this part, the point 3. They have adopted, this administration have adopted a raft of policy measures and reforms to ensure the achievement of program targets. These include enacting a 2025 budget consistent with program objectives and legislative amendments to strengthen Ghana's fiscal framework and institutions, essentially tightening the monetary policy stance and resuming quarterly electricity tariff changes to reflect past cost and exchange rate development, while accelerating the restructuring of Ghana's electricity company. And they captured the recent economic developments, economic growth that has exceeded expectation, but inflation has remained high and persistent. This is also captured in the IMF report that you referenced as well. So it wasn't all doom and gloom, or the administration, or that's the IMF also did acknowledge what this administration has done, is it not?
No, and I've said that. I'm saying that, so again, exactly. So I want that if we are presenting the state of the economy to Ghanaians, we should present it like that. We should say that, look, these were the positives of the former administration. Yes, some things went wrong. We all know, Ghanaians experienced it. But that this was what was good. My point is that if all the time you are talking about the doom and the gloom of the former administration, if all the time your argument is that it was a crime scene, nothing good was happening, but then on the other hand, the IMF is saying that certain things happen, then those two statements are contradictory in and of themselves. And we do not want that from a finance minister. We want a finance minister to be able to say, yes, even if I disagreed with their philosophy and ideology, even if I agree with their economic management model, even if I disagree with some of the policies they implemented, these are some of the positives of those policies, and these are some of the negatives of it. Nevertheless, today we have been able to do this so that we can continue, because the idea that every finance minister comes and every president comes and tries to poo-hoo what the other administration has done just so that they win some political sympathy or not is wrong. It doesn't help us with our political credibility. That's the point I'm making. Tell the true story. Tell the real story. They were good, they were positives and negatives, the former administration. We implement, because one day we'll review this economy too. And every economy will tell us that these were the highlights of the current administration. This was what you did good and this was what you did bad. When you present such a balanced report, it supports your credibility and it supports what you are doing going forward.